first of all, there's a hadith in which hadith Qudsi, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that when he loves any abd, when he loves a servant, he calls out to Jibreel alayhi salam, and he says, I love so-and-so, and so love him or her. And now Jibreel begins to love that individual. And then it is called out to those in the heavens that Allah loves so-and-so. And so those in the heavens begin to love so-and-so, that person. And then acceptance is put for that individual on this earth. So now look at the procedure here, or look at the how it works, right? What's the final result? Acceptance is put on this earth for that individual. Where does acceptance come from? Where did it start? What was the root? It was that Allah loved that person. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves someone, then Jibreel loves that individual. And then when Jibreel loves that individual, those in the heavens love that individual, and then acceptance is put on this earth. Now, this is an important point, because the reason why it's important, correction, it is actually a hadith, not hadith Qudsi, jazakumullahu khairan. So when Allah subhanahu, the reason why this is so important, also, we live in a world where, especially, I think, modern times, we live in a world where we're really, really chasing after the love of people, the acceptance of people, collecting likes and followers and social approval, right? We chase this like on a really mega scale. And a lot of people become really sucked into that. And so in this sort of world that we live in, where we're chasing after the love of the creation, we're chasing after acceptance, where does it come from? This hadith says exactly where it comes from. It comes only from the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That was the root. And then it led to the acceptance. So when we're chasing the approval and the acceptance of people, we really should be chasing the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because everything comes back to the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the more that you run after the acceptance, the approval, the love of people, it actually has a counter effect. Human beings run away from other human beings who chase them. It's not something that makes people want to get closer to you or want to respect you. In fact, if you look at, across the board, whether Muslim or non-Muslim, there's kind of like this shared sort of respect for people who don't run after and chase after approval. There's, whether or not you agree with that individual. Like, there are many people who may or may not agree with Malcolm X and the stance that Malcolm X took, or Muhammad Ali, but there's a respect for the fact that they didn't care about chasing popularity. They weren't chasing the approval of people. They weren't chasing, social approval, but they stood up for what they believed in, and they weren't, running after likes or followers. There's a respect that we have for these types of individuals. Whereas it's also human nature that when someone seems to be chasing after, the approval or begging for it, people don't respect that. So this is a phenomenon that's very interesting about love of people versus love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah loves for us to beg from him. Allah loves for us to be poor and impoverished, right, in front of him. But human beings don't love that. It doesn't look nice. It's actually something that's very repulsive to see a person who seems to almost be begging for your approval, right? It's a turnoff. It's not something that we respect as human beings. Whereas Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves for us to beg from him, to beg for his approval of us, to beg for his help, to beg for his love. Human beings are repelled by that. So again, the love of human beings, the love and acceptance and approval doesn't come from people, and it definitely doesn't come from chasing after it, but rather it comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from gaining Allah's love. So this is many various layers to this hadith, but this is one of the lessons that we can take from this hadith.